It was a foggy night when Michael pulled his car into the middle of an abandoned industrial zone. As the engine died, a heavy silence swallowed the place. In the passenger seat, Luke perked up his ears, alert. Sarah sat in the back, clutching a file case tight on her lap. Inside were documents that could blow the city's darkest secrets wide open. "This is our last shot," Sarah whispered, her voice barely louder than the wind. Michael caught her eyes in the rearview mirror. He looked exhausted but dead set. "We either bring it all down, or we disappear for good." They quietly opened their doors and stepped out. The air was cold and sharp, tasting like rust and old metal. Their boots crunched over broken asphalt. Suddenly, a beam of light cut through the dark. Headlights, a gun barrel, and then a shout. "Freeze! Drop everything!" Michael reacted in a flash, pulling Sarah behind the car. Luke growled low in his throat. They were surrounded. Michael whispered, almost too quiet to hear, "Plan B." The first gunshot ripped through the night. Bullets ricocheted off the concrete walls, spraying sparks. Michael grabbed Luke and dove for cover. Sarah hit the ground hard, holding the file case to her chest, her hands shaking. Michael narrowed his eyes, trying to pick out their attackers in the dark. Betrayal was in the air. ARC didn't just want to stop them, they wanted to wipe them out. "Luke, protect Sarah!" Michael yelled. The dog lunged like a ghost, slamming into a man and knocking him flat. Michael fired until he was out of bullets. But there were too many of them. They were outnumbered and running out of time. Sarah clutched the case and cried out, "We have to run, Michael, or it's all for nothing." Michael hesitated, heart pounding, and then he heard it, Luke's wounded whimper. Everything froze. Michael's world shrank down to one thing, Luke. "Luke!" he shouted, racing over. He scooped up his dog, eyes stinging with tears. There was blood, but Luke was breathing. "Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there." Sarah ran up, tears streaming down her face. "Michael, please, we have to go." For a split second, he stood frozen. Then he grabbed Luke tighter and took off with Sarah down a narrow back alley. He had one thing on his mind, get to the safe house. 2 hours later. The cold gnawed at the tiny cabin hidden deep in the woods. Sarah dropped the file case on an old wooden table, her hands still trembling. Michael wrapped Luke in a dusty blanket, carefully cleaning his wound. "We made it," Sarah whispered, almost like she needed to hear it herself. Michael didn't say anything. The silence inside the cabin was heavy, like the calm before a new storm. Luke weakly licked Michael's hand, his tail giving a faint wag, like he was saying, "Don't give up." Michael closed his eyes, drew a deep breath, and made a silent promise. "If we survive tonight, I'm ending this." With Michael and Sarah's help, the files were leaked to a journalist. The next morning, the city exploded. Headlines screamed, "ARC's dark secrets exposed." Not just the city, the whole country was in shock. Authorities swooped in. Within days, ARC's leaders were dragged away in cuffs. Outside the big courthouse, a massive crowd waited in dead silence. Everyone knew history was about to be made inside. Michael, Sarah, and Luke, limping just a little but still standing strong, walked into the courtroom. The place was cold, old, wood-paneled walls, high ceilings, echoes of serious business. The ARC boss was dragged in, chained up, still trying to act cocky. But Michael could see it. Behind the mask, the guy was scared stiff. The prosecutor stood and dropped the hammer. Documents, recordings, witness statements. One by one, the ugly truths rolled out. Blackmail, torture, corruption. The courtroom sat frozen, barely breathing. Then Sarah took the stand, and for a moment, the whole room went dead quiet. When Sarah stood at the podium, holding the files high in the air. You could feel the entire room holding its breath. Nobody could believe the dirt she was about to spill. Her voice shook at first, but her eyes burned with fire. They didn't just crush people for power, they destroyed hope. But we didn't stay quiet, and today we're standing up to remind them they don't win. The prosecutor gave one last closing argument. Today, we're not just putting ARC on trial, we're standing up for the human spirit. The judge's gavel slammed down. The verdict? Guilty on all counts, life sentences. For a second, the room stayed still, and then applause. Soft at first, then building, real, raw, full of tears and relief. Michael caught Sarah's eye. She smiled, a little sad, but shining. Luke barked once, wagging his tail like crazy. 1 month later, a quiet evening. Michael sat on the porch of his house, tossing an old tennis ball. Luke, fully healed, wagged his tail and took off after it like a bullet. Sarah leaned against the porch railing, watching them. There was something in the air they hadn't felt in a long, long time. Peace. Michael closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This time, they were really free. This time, they really won. If you're into wild stories like this one, don't just scroll away. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and be the first to see what crazy thing happens next.